Y'all, I have to let y'all know I am dedicated to finding out what happened to Ashlee. I will go through all of it and pick them out root and stem. So I came across another video. You guys know this is what we do at the Juicy Leaks TV channel. We're going to look at this video. It was doing some numbers, and I said, well, maybe something is in this video we need to look at. And let's react to it. They say they have more information about Ashlee and Joe, and how Joe, can I be honest with y'all, really honest? Joe was going to that country and doing it, messing with underage black girls. Okay, that's what I believe. And Ashlee caught him messing with underage girls and doing all types of evil stuff to them. And she was shocked by Joe and his actions. I don't think she was all horrified about him cheating. If he was cheating over there, you know he was cheating in America. Hell. So, I mean, Ashlee getting cheated on with these type of guys, I really feel like it comes with the territory with her. But it's the type of cheating that Joe was doing with these underage girls that she had no idea about. That's what I feel. They said over there, Joe always frequent the little girls over there, and he loves them underage, and he loves them to be black, and they don't care about it. They don't care about age restricting. They don't look at it as pedo. That is why these guys go to these different islands and these different places, because they're into that type of stuff, and you know that, and you know how Africa have a long history with doing this to little girls, underage girls, selling them off to older men. You know, it's a whole documentary how the European, YT men will go down in Africa and get these girls pregnant and then leave, So it's a big thing out here. Let's watch this video. I'm sure that video is not going to tell what I just told, but I just felt like putting it out there. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe here at Juicy Leaks TV. I am your host, Gigi Medici. I just want to say thank you all for liking and sharing and subscribing. I ask you all to continue to support me, continue to support a sister, continue to up me, like me, hype me. You know what we do, boo. All right, so let's hear what's going on. Are y'all ready? Come on, let's take it all the way from the back.
So here's the latest update on the Ashlee Jenae and Joe McCann situation, and trust, things are getting real intense. The Director of Criminal Investigations and locals out in Zanzibar have been dropping new info, and it's coming in fast. A lot of these updates are actually in Swahili since they're coming straight from people on the ground, but no worries. I understand it clearly, so nothing is getting missed or twisted. Now listen closely because this part is wild. Reports are saying that Ashlee Jenae and Joe McCann were already clashing the second they landed in Zanzibar. We're talking repeated arguments, not just small disagreements, but full-on tension building up from day one. And it gets deeper. Joe wasn't just some random tourist staying at the resort like everyone thought. Turns out, he was moving differently, like someone who already knew the area real well. And here's where people started raising eyebrows. Word is, Joe would leave Ashlee Jenae alone at the villa for long stretches of time. And locals are saying he was linking up with other women while out there. That sparked even more arguments between them, and witnesses are now speaking up about how often they saw Ashlee upset. One person even said he would disappear for hours and come back like nothing happened, which made the situation even more heated. It doesn't stop there either. Joe McCann reportedly had a close contact in Zanzibar who has now been questioned as part of the investigation. And that's got people asking even more questions about what was really going on behind the scenes. On top of that, there are claims that one of Ashlee Jenae's personal items, her engagement ring, was found under unusual conditions, which only adds more confusion and concern to the whole situation. And get this, the full report with the timeline? It's not even easy to find online right now. That's what makes this even more shocking. But after digging through local sources, I managed to track down details from a Zanzibar news outlet. And according to the Director of Criminal Investigations, they've already started piecing together a very detailed sequence of events. Now here's where the timeline starts getting even more serious. Officials confirmed that Joe McCann and Ashlee Jenae checked into Missouri Hotel, Villa number 25. And they were 26. Everything seemed normal at first glance, but behind the scenes, things were already spiraling. According to the director of criminal investigations, the tension between them wasn't just talk. It actually got so loud and intense that someone staying next door in Villa number 24 had to step in and alert hotel staff. Imagine that moment, things getting so heated that outsiders had to get involved. That's when staff made the call to separate them immediately to cool things down. And here's how they handled it. Joe McCann was moved out of Villa number 25 and relocated to Villa number 65, which is about an 8 to 10 minute walk away from where Ashlee Jenae was now staying. So at that point, they were no longer in the same space, but clearly the situation was far from settled. Now pay attention to this detail because it stands out. Around 7:30 p.m. on the day everything took a turn, one of the hotel attendants was doing his routine evening rounds. When he stopped by Villa number 25 to check on Ashlee Jenae, she spoke to him directly and mentioned that she needed a phone charger. Such a simple request, right? But in moments like this, even the smallest details start to feel important. That interaction might seem minor at first, but it's now part of the official timeline being reviewed closely. Now this part right here is where things take a heavy and confusing turn. The attendant handed Ashlee Jenae his phone charger like she asked, then continued on with his rounds, stopping by Villas 24 and 26 like usual. But before he left, Ashlee told him to come back in about 10 minutes so he could collect it again. And that detail is important. According to the director of criminal investigations, the timing didn't go exactly as planned. Instead of returning in 10 minutes, the attendant came back closer to 20 minutes later. When he got to Villa 25, he knocked on the door, but there was no response at all. On top of that, every light inside was turned off, which instantly made the situation feel off. Now think about it. He was expecting her to be there, waiting to hand back the charger. So when he couldn't reach her and something didn't feel right, he decided to act fast. Using his emergency key, he opened the door to check inside, and what he found shocked him completely. Inside the villa, Ashlee Jenae was in a critical state involving a bathrobe belt connected to the wardrobe area. According to the report, she was still responsive but clearly struggling at that moment, which made the situation extremely urgent. The attendant didn't hesitate. He immediately raised the alarm to get help as quickly as possible. Staff rushed to respond, and Ashlee Jenae was quickly transported to the nearest hospital for emergency care. After receiving initial treatment, she was then moved to another hospital that could provide more specialized support. Despite those efforts, she sadly passed the following day at around 3 p.m., which left many people shaken by the outcome. Now, this is where things start getting even more complicated, and people are really starting to question what actually happened. So remember, the attendant had given Ashlee Jenae his phone charger, right? It's possible he told her his shift was almost done, and that he would need it back soon, which could explain why she asked him to return after a few minutes. At first, that explanation sounds reasonable and lines up with the situation. But then a whole different angle started coming out from locals in Zanzibar, and it shifted the conversation completely. People on the ground are saying Joe McCann wasn't just some unfamiliar visitor. He actually knew the area well and had been there multiple times before. Not only that, but some are claiming he was familiar with people at the resort too, which raises a lot of eyebrows. Now, because of that, some people have started questioning the timeline that's being presented. Think about how it looks. Staff say Joe was moved to a different villa that's about 10 minutes away, creating distance between him and Ashlee Jenae. Then you have this short window where the attendant leaves and comes back, only to make that discovery shortly after. When you line those details up, it creates a very tight sequence of events. And that's exactly why people online are debating this so heavily. Some are wondering if the way everything is being told makes it seem like there was no possible way for Joe to be anywhere near Villa 25 during that time frame. It almost feels too perfectly arranged, like every piece falls into place in a way that removes any chance of overlap. At the same time, it's important to keep things grounded. These are still claims and perspectives being shared, not confirmed conclusions. But you can see why people are raising questions, especially if Joe McCann was already familiar with the environment and the people around him. Now, this next part is what really has people talking, and it adds a whole new layer to the situation. Some locals are claiming that because Joe McCann was so familiar with Zanzibar, he understood how things operated behind the scenes. And when people say that, they're pointing toward the idea that he knew how to navigate situations in ways others might not. There's also talk going around suggesting that certain systems in the area can be influenced, which has made some people question whether that familiarity gave him an advantage if things ever got complicated. That perspective has definitely shifted how some are looking at the bigger picture, especially when you consider he wasn't new to the environment at all. And it doesn't stop there. Reports are now saying that authorities actually brought in around 10 individuals for questioning, including hotel staff members, and even a friend of Joe McCann, who was also in Zanzibar at the time. That detail alone has people raising eyebrows because it shows how connected he might have been while staying there. People are also pointing out how comfortable Joe seemed in that setting. The fact that he had connections, knew people, and even had friends visiting from abroad has made the situation feel even more layered and complex. Then there's another detail that's been frustrating a lot of people. Ashlee Jenae's family is still waiting for clear answers regarding the autopsy results, even though reports suggest the process has already been completed. That delay is raising serious questions online, with many wondering why that information hasn't been fully shared yet. So now, between the claims about connections, the number of people questioned, and the lack of clear updates for the family, the entire situation is starting to feel even more unclear. Now, this part right here is what's really hitting people hard. Ashlee Jenae's father actually had to travel all the way to Washington, D.C. just to get U.S. officials involved so they could help communicate with authorities in Tanzania. And even with that effort, there are still delays when it comes to releasing information and final updates. That alone has people asking serious questions about what's taking so long. A lot of people online are wondering why key details haven't been fully shared yet, especially when the situation has already progressed this far. It's creating frustration and speculation, because from the outside looking in, it feels like there are still missing pieces. But that's not the only thing people have been trying to figure out. Many have been asking what exactly caused all those arguments between Ashlee Jenae and Joe McCann. Now, according to a source from Zanzibar, those disagreements may have been tied to Joe's behavior during the trip. The claim is that he would leave the villa and spend time with other women in the area, which caused repeated tension between them. And it didn't just stay private. There are reports saying one of their arguments even spilled into a public space near the reception area. Allegedly, someone showed interest in Ashlee Jenae, and that situation quickly turned uncomfortable. Joe reportedly reacted strongly, and Ashlee responded by calling out his own actions, which led to a heated exchange right there in front of others. That back and forth seems to have been a major source of stress throughout the trip. And while those conflicts explain the tension, they still don't fully explain how everything escalated to such a tragic outcome. That's the part that people are still trying to understand. Adding even more weight to this, one of Ashlee Jenae's friends has now come forward sharing what Ashlee had confided before the trip. According to her, Ashlee had expressed fear and was already thinking about ending the relationship due to ongoing arguments and serious issues between them. So now, when you look at everything together, the tension before the trip, the reported behavior during the trip, and the events that followed, it paints a picture that feels much deeper than what was initially understood. Now this next part adds even more tension to the story, and it's coming from someone close to Ashlee Jenae. According to her friend, Ashlee had been thinking about leaving the relationship, but she felt uneasy about how Joe McCann might react. The friend described him as someone who could be very intense, and that made Ashlee hesitant to take that step. After hearing that, I started looking deeper into Joe's past, and some older situations began to stand out. There's actually an article from 2018 about his first marriage, and the way it starts is already raising eyebrows. His ex-wife described her wedding day as the toughest decision of her life. Just think about that for a second. Most people see that day as joyful, so hearing it framed like that feels unusual. And it gets even more interesting. During that wedding, the bride ended up walking down the aisle alone because her father chose not to accompany her. That's not something you see every day, and naturally, it left people wondering what was really going on behind the scenes. When you look at that detail, it raises a lot of questions. Why would a father step back from such a major moment in his daughter's life? Some people believe it suggests he may have had concerns about Joe McCann at the time. Of course, that's speculation, but it's one of those moments that stands out when you connect it to everything else being discussed now. There are also suggestions that Joe influenced how that moment played out, with claims that he encouraged the bride to walk alone. And as she made her way down the aisle, she reportedly shared that he had made promises to her, which adds another layer to how that situation is being viewed today. When you combine these past details with what's being said about Ashlee Jenae's experience, it creates a pattern that people are starting to analyze more closely. Now, this next part is honestly hard to hear because it brings up a promise that didn't age well at all. During that wedding, Joe McCann reportedly told his ex-wife, "You will never have to walk alone in life again." That sounds deep, right? But here's where it takes a turn. By 2021, he had left that marriage while she was expecting their second child. That contrast alone has people looking back at everything with a different perspective. There are also claims being shared that the relationship had a lot of intense moments, which is why some people are now connecting those past experiences to what's being said about Ashlee Jenae. Online, you'll see many trying to piece together a pattern, with some believing Joe was often the one driving those conflicts. Still, it's important to remember these are allegations and discussions, not final conclusions. Now, shifting back to the current situation, investigators have reportedly said there were no signs of forced entry into Ashlee Jenae's room. That detail stands out because it narrows down certain possibilities and keeps the focus on what may have happened inside. Then, there's the detail about the engagement ring. And this is where things get even more puzzling. Reports claim the ring was found inside a rental car located near the hotel grounds. What made it more concerning, according to those reports, was that it appeared to have unusual marks on it, which led investigators to take a closer look. From there, it was sent in for forensic testing to determine exactly where those marks came from and who they might be linked to. Now, to be clear, this specific part hasn't been fully confirmed from all sides, so it's something that's still being looked into carefully. And one more thing that needs to be cleared up, because there's been a lot of confusion online. People have been tagging the wrong resort in connection to this story. Ashlee Jenae was not at the hotel with the lion that's been circulating all over social media feeds. Now, to clear up one of the biggest mix-ups going around online, the resort people keep tagging with the lion, that's actually in a completely different town in Tanzania, not Zanzibar, where this situation took place. That detail has been spreading fast, but it's just not accurate. In fact, the team at Serval even stepped in to address everything directly. They responded publicly and said, "We truly understand your concern and we are deeply saddened to see this happen. During her time with us, she was very happy." And they pointed out that her mood and energy were clearly reflected in her social media posts while she was there. They also made it clear that when Ashlee Jenae left their property, she was in good condition and in a positive state of mind. On top of that, they emphasized that the incident did not happen at their location, and they don't have any further details about what happened afterward or who she was with. They encouraged people to rely on official updates for accurate information, which is something a lot of people online have been asking for. Now, when you look at everything together, the focus shifts back to Zanzibar, where the situation between Ashlee Jenae and Joe McCann reportedly became more intense. That's where people are saying he was more familiar with the environment and the people around him, which has sparked a lot of conversation about how things unfolded. There are still claims that he would leave her alone at the villa while going out to spend time with other women. and many believe that added to the emotional tension between them. Especially considering this all happened not long after their engagement, it makes the situation feel even more overwhelming. Right now, one of the biggest unanswered questions is what exactly led to Ashlee Jenae losing her life, and whether any outside involvement played a role. Those answers are expected to come from official findings, but as of now, people are still waiting, and the delay is only adding more speculation. So at this point, everyone is watching